Hey guys, we are back with another round of the Pokemon trading card game Oceania International Championships. We have Regan Retzloff versus Rahul Reddy, RR versus RR. We will see who becomes victorious in this final top 4 match before we get to the actual finals. We do have Lugia on the left from Regan and Reggie from Rahul on the right. We do have to mention that Rahul is getting a double prize card penalty because the judges, of course, do not allow you to put your prize cards out after you set up. So Rahul took his mulligan as he is supposed to and got a prize card penalty for it. The judges need to stop controlling the game state in illegal ways. So just once you set up, you got to be able to put your prize cards down so that things like that do not happen. And of course, they are also making Rahul play left-handed, which I do not believe is his preferred way to do it, because as you're not seeing it, but when they were setting up, Rahul did have his deck on the right side of the board. All that Rahul does is a Speed Lightning Energy and Quick Ball away. I believe it was a Gift Energy. We're going to have 4 Regis total for Rahul. That is most of the way there. 2/3, in fact. He just needs a Regis Steel and a Regice in order to have the full Regi Brigade there. He's also going to be looking for a couple Aurora Energies to discard, or at least another Speed Lightning to attach to Regieleki. Some combination thereof. That way he can attack on this next turn. Regan is going to start this Oranguru. He is going to quick Ultra Ball away an Archeops. That way he can get the Luminion. And he is going to choose to go for a Marnie as a supporter. Usually it is great to get something like a Research if you have more Archeops in your hand to be able to discard them and draw a whole bunch of cards. But against a deck like Reggie, you want to disrupt them, make sure they have the least amount of cards as possible. That way their setup is as hindered as possible. They need all 6 of those Regis and 2 Aurora Energies. If you can stop that from happening on the next turn, you get a free turn to survive, to attack, to not take damage, etc. So we are going to see that Marnie come out. Both hands get shuffled up and put to the bottom. Looks like we do get a Drago in hand. That's not what Rahul wants to see. He wants to see Ice and Steel, not a duplicate of one that's already in play. We are going to attach the Powerful Colorless Energy to this Lugia V we found and pass the turn. Regan just needs 1 Lugia V to be able to evolve into a Lugia VStar on the next turn, but if Rahul gets the full setup plus a boss's orders, Regan is going to be in a really bad position, not going to be able to have any Lugia Vs to turn into Lugia VStars. But he does have that significant advantage of the 2 prize card penalty. That again was the fault of the judges. Not personally a big fan of Rahul, however, I do have to defend him in this circumstance. That 2 prize penalty was not his fault. We are going to Quick Ball away an Aurora Energy. As long as Rahul gets 1 more Regi down after this Quick Ball, he'll have everything he needs in order to attack with Regieleki. Do we see the boss's orders? I do believe he is playing one of those. They are also playing 1 Escape Rope. This is the same 60 cards that Rahul is playing as Sam Chen was playing that we saw in the last round of Swiss as well. Unfortunately, Sam did bubble out at 9th place, did barely miss getting top 8. For those who don't know what the bubble is, the bubble just means that you had the record of the person who made it in at 8th place. However, your tiebreaker score, the opponent's win percentage, was not as good. So you essentially lost out on top 8 just because of how well your opponents did and not necessarily how well you did. Looks like we are going to have all of the energies that we need in order to attack, but unfortunately still miss out on the Regice, so Rahul is forced to retreat. He wants to make sure that he keeps that Regieleki alive so that he will have the option of that as an attacker on the next turn. Looks like Regan does have the Lugia V-Star in hand, so he will potentially be able to Summoning Star. He just needs to get rid of this Path to the Peak that Rahul played down. Path to the Peak does stop all Pokemon that have a rule box, such as Radiant Pokemon, Pokemon V, VMAX, V-Stars, from using any abilities. They technically have no abilities. So if there is actually a card that counts the amount of Pokemon in play that have abilities, any Pokemon that would normally have an ability under Path without Path to the Peak in play, such as Luminion, are not actually counted for that total. There was a card, Weavile, back in the day of the GXs that would do 50 damage times the amount of abilities your opponent had in play. If there was a card like Path to the Peak there that would shut off those abilities, there would be no ability to count for that Weavile attack. Looks like we are going to use Monkey Business here from Oranguru. We are going to be able to conserve a card after we use this research. It will be right back in hand. We won't have to discard it. We're going to go for the Evolution Incense. I do believe there might be a ball card in hand so that we will be able to discard this Archeops. Since we did use the Lost Vacuum, we were able to get rid of the Path to the Peak, so we will have the out in order to use Lugia VStar's Summoning Star and get 2 Archeops out. The Archeops' Primal Turbo ability does allow you to get 2 special energies from your deck and attach them to one of your Pokemon in play. Yep, we do have an Ultra Ball that's going to get rid of that Archeops, as well as the Lugia, or no, the Evital. Sorry, gotta stop misspeaking. The Evital Amazing Rare. Evital is very bad in this matchup. It attacks for 5 energies and is only a 1 prize Pokemon. Lugia V-Star is a little bit better in this matchup just because it can take a couple of hits. Unfortunately, Reagan is not playing Dunsparce, so that Regieleki will be able to hit Lugia V-Star for weakness. It will be 40 short, but if Rahul is able to do a Regieleki attack again in the future, Terra Spark not only does 120 to the active Pokemon, but it will do 40 damage to 2 bench Pokemon, and that is an easy way to take out the Lugia V-Star. An even easier way is if Rahul just has the Choice Belt, so he can hit 300 instead of 240 with that Regieleki. Reagan is now using his Primal Turbos. Looks like we are attaching powerful colorless energies to Oranguru. We are going to go in with the Whap Down. Starts off with 70 damage because of the 3 powerful colorless energies. That's an additional 60. So he is doing exactly 130, which is enough to knock out any of the Regis not named Gigas. All of the Regis that are not Gigas have 130 or less HP. The Regieleki has 120. The Regigigas has 150, and everything else has 130. Rahul should be playing a 2-1 split of the Regieleki, 2 of the 120 HP one, and 1 of the 130 HP one. So if Rahul is unable to take down this Oranguru this turn, it can start taking multiple prize cards, and that is not something that you see from Oranguru very often. So this is actually a very unfortunate and hilarious position to be in if your name is Rahul Reddy. We are going to be discarding more Auroras to the discard pile. We finally have the full Regi Brigade, so Oranguru will be going down this turn. Funnily enough, that Oranguru is a scary attacker. I've never seen Oranguru do any meaningful damage. I've knocked out Comphase with it before, but never a Regi. Never had gotten into such a position such as that. If Rahul is able to get another Path to the Peak down, that will stop Reagan from being able to use another Luminion in the future. Boss's orders from Lugia can be very powerful in this matchup just because you only play 2 copies of all of the Regis that are not Aleki. So if 2 of them ever hit the discard pile at the same time, it can make it so if Rahul is missing both a search card and Ordinary Rod in his hand simultaneously, he can miss a turn of attacking by not having all 6 Regis in play. I don't believe that Reagan is playing the Collapse Stadium, but some Lugia decks do choose to play a 1-of copy of that as an additional out to Path to the Peak. That would also discard 1 of the Regis from play for Rahul, and if he is not able to, if he were not able to discard that stadium, he would then never be able to have 6 Regis in play, thus never being able to use their attacks or charge them up with energy. But fortunately for Rahul, Reagan is not playing that card, but Reagan is going in with this Archeops. We're going to use 2 Primal Turbos here, one of them to charge up this Archeops in the active, and one of them to finish off charging up the Lugia VStar. Lugia VStar now having a powerful energy and a double turbo, canceling out their bonus and debuffs there. And a heat fire energy. As we said before, we are not going to be attacking with Eviltal, so utilizing the heat fire energy there on the Lugia essentially just as a colorless energy is perfectly fine. It could matter for Charizard at a particular point, but you should have enough Aurora energies still left in deck for it to not matter. Rahul is going to promote the Registeel. Registeel, normally not a very good attacker into most Pokemon. However, since Archeops does have a low HP value of 150 and a low retreat cost of 1, the Registeel can actually hit for a solid number and one shot. So Rahul is using his very small opportunity to use Registeel as an effective attacker and just going in with it now. Yeah, even Reagan goes to cut the deck, puts it to where Rahul wants it to be, but Rahul's like, nope, Judge is bad. We got to put this to the other side. Now let's see. We have the we do have Registeel active here, but we have the energies on the Regidrago. So it looks like we do have the full 4 Aurora energies already, and both gift energies already. So we have a fully charged up Regidrago and a fully charged up Registeel. If Reagan were to be able to just boss his orders up another one of the Regis, maybe like Regigigas, Rahul actually would not be able to charge it up most likely, just because there may not be enough energy cards in the discard pile. It would probably be better maybe like Rock or Ice, because they both have 3 retreat costs and have to attack with colored energies. And all your Auroras are already in play. But Reagan is already so far ahead at this point that it does not matter. We won't need to stall with any strategy like that. So we are just going to go in with this Lugia. We are just hard attaching to this other Lugia to make sure that we are going to be able to have an additional attacker going after. Reagan can also attack with things like his other Archeops or his Luminion. And Rahul knows that at this point, Reagan is at 1 prize card remaining due to the prize card penalty, essentially. So Rahul knows that there is no way to win, and he's just going to scoop it up and go to the next game. I think that that was still pretty even footing if Rahul didn't get given that prize card penalty. I think that there would have been a world where he could have pulled it back. He just needed to do one of those key turns where he can one-shot a Lugia V-Star with a Regieleki. Then he would have been able to win that game. He would have been able to put the prize trade back in his favor, especially since Reagan chose to go in with 2 Lugia Vs. That would be 2 really easy one-shots from Regieleki. So we're going to have to see if Rahul is able to pull it back in this game. They did start again with 75 minutes instead of the normal 50 minutes. So that is quite a lot of extra time to be able to play these matches. So they still have 60 minutes on the clock going into just game 2. So we won't see this likely go to turns. Even if it does go to turns, there will be no ties because of the fact that this is single elimination here at this point. Somebody has to come out the winner so that somebody does go to the finals. And again, we see Rahul's entire first turn happens off screen. Looks like he must have attached an Aurora energy to his Regirock he started with and discard a Twin energy. It looks like Rahul is doing the brick that Regi decks tend to do quite often. Looks like we are using the Evolution Incense to grab an Archeops. We will likely have a Quick Ball. Looks like Aurora Energy is in hand at the very least to be able to discard that card. I do not believe that there is any world where Rahul can likely get up to the 6 Regis in play, 2 Auroras, and something else in discard in order to be able to attack, especially with the Regieleki since that is not active. So Regan might be feeling pretty safe only having the 1 Lugia V in play, but if there is a world where he can get a second one down, I would like to see that. Yep, looks like we are going to do a really big research trying to find a second Lugia V. We are going to find Oranguru and Radiant Charizard. Another Evolution Incense. We should be getting another Archeops with that. As long as there is another Ball Search card. But there may not be since we are already seeing the shuffle from Regan. Regan likely, at this point in the tournament, knows that he can just save time by not going for a shuffle after the Evolution Incense if he's going to immediately go back in with something along the lines of a Quick Ball. So we are just going to use that Archeops to read the wind, discard that card, and draw 3 cards. So we are going to hope that Rahul does not get the knockout this turn. Rahul does go in for the Professor's Research, discarding his whole hand. Very unfortunate that there are no Aurora energies in that hand, but there is one off of this Trekking Shoes. Rahul does have the potential power to get there. Unfortunately, it looks like his current hand, while it looks pretty good, is not good enough to get through to the full 6 Regis plus like a scoop up net for his Regirock. But maybe there is a world where he can get the Regidrago to draw some extra cards. So it looks like that is what's being eyed up off of this Quick Ball here. We're going to go Regidrago. Do we have a way to retreat? Maybe if we have double turbo in hand. Nope, looks like we are just going for the Regigate. I think that's perfectly fine. Very unfortunate that you're going to be able to allow Regan to get his Summoning Star off easily this game. Doesn't even have the path to the peak, but that is the way the decks draw sometimes, unfortunately. Rahul would be probably feeling a lot better with that path, but it looks like Regan does have a Quick Ball in hand as well, so he will likely be able to get the Pumpkaboo even if the path was in play. We're going to Quick Ball away yet another Archeops. We should have 3 in the discard pile, I believe, at this point. Only need 2. We are going to Quick Ball for a Luminion. That will get us another supporter card. Maybe we will be going for the Marnie. Nope, looks like we're going for the Boss's Orders. Regan knows how threatening that Regieleki is and wants to remove the threat of that from the board. Since he is attacking with the Lugia, he doesn't have the benefit of the 2 prize penalty in this game to lean back on. So Regan is going to have to take all 6 prize cards before Rahul takes 6. And since Regan is playing Lightning Week 2 prizers, that Regieleki is definitely the most threatening thing on the board to him. So we do see the Primal Turbo. It looks like just the one, I believe, at this point is going off. Charging up the Lugia VStar fully. We are going to be hitting for a very solid 200 with that boy. We are going in with our second Primal Turbo now after using Oranguru's Monkey Powers to put a card to the top of the deck. We're going to put 1 capture energy onto the Luminion, either to make it easier to attack with later in the game, or to just have a way to pivot into something else. If this Lugia VStar does go down, we won't really have any other attackers in play besides the Archeops, so at least this way, the Luminion will be able to retreat into something that is able to be played down on the next turn. So, yep, we are going to take the knockout there with Lugia VStar, and Reagan does take the first prize card of the game. Rahul's going to immediately Ordinary Rod that one Regieleki back into the deck and then Quick Ball for it. Rahul knows, he says, I want this Aleki, and there's nothing you can do to stop me from having it. Even gets the Choice Belt. Maybe we can draw into what we need off of this Drago. We need a Scoop Up Net, and I believe that's really it. We do get the Research. So we're going to see, do we get Scoop Up Net off of this? I believe we have the energies we need in the discard pile already to attack with Aleki. And that would be a one-shot on this Lugia, and you would be able to put 40 damage on both of the Archeops. Looks like we... Oh! Okay. So he uses Regigigas to charge up his active Regidrago. Retreats the Regidrago. And then scoop ups Regigigas to use its ability a second time this turn. So very interesting way to go about that. That does allow there to be an additional energy on the onto the Regidrago. So that then that way, if he needs to have yet another retreating pivot in the future, he does have that option. So a little bit more of a skilled play from Rahul than just scooping up the Drago. I do like that. So Reagan is promoting the Luminion. He can potentially attack with it this turn as well. I think that this would be the perfect opportunity, since the Regieleki, as I said before, does have 120 HP. This Luminion will be able to one-shot it with Aqua Return, since Aqua Return does do exactly 120. It will also shuffle the Luminion back into the deck for 2 reasons. 1, to get a 2-prizer off the board, and 2, to have another out to getting a supporter later in the game should we need one. We also bench a Manaphy that will stop Regieleki from doing more bench damage in the future with that Terra Spark. We've already done 40 to 2 Archeops. Those are softer boys now. Yep, we are using our first Primal Turbo. Is going to put a powerful colorless energy and an Aurora energy on it. That is now a fully powered up Luminion. We are now going to use our second Archeops and I guess fail it. Not sure why we tapped the second one. Or did he just use the one and just tap it now? I don't know. The tapping is always very confusing. That's why you should just use ability used markers, in my opinion. This isn't magic. It's not Kaijudo. Tapping doesn't have a clear use in this game. So yeah, it looks like maybe just the one Archeops has so far been used. We are choosing a card to put to the top of our deck here now. Or not. I think he had tapped the Oranguru and then never used it. Unless he just did it so fast that, like, I'm blind? I don't know. We are going to use the second Archeops now. We are going to get the Speed Lightning energy onto the Manaphy, just again, so that we have that pivot option for if we bench a new attacker in the future. At some point, we will likely want to attack with Charizard. Radiant Charizard does have 160 HP, so the only Pokemon of Rahul's that can knock it out in one shot is a Regidrago. So if at any point Rahul is going to put the Regidrago up as an attacker and use it, that would be the perfect opportunity to attack with the Charizard. If you knock out Regidrago, then something else has to be promoted, And then the Regis Drago gets benched, so that forces Rahul to have something along the lines of a scoop-up net, or maybe a double, or maybe a twin energy onto the Regirock so that it can retreat. Regan only has one prize attackers in play at this point, or one prize Pokemon rather. I don't know if you could really call Manaphy an attacker. And normally I wouldn't call Oranguru an attacker, but as we saw in game 1, that was a thing. Looks like the escape rope is going to force the Manaphy up. I think that that is fine. You would rather have Manaphy go up than either of your Archeops. We are going to get the other Regieleki now, the one that does 120 snipe to the bench. Of course, that Regieleki cannot attack while Manaphy is in play, basically. Its attack would not be able to work. Well, it would. You would still discard the 2 energy, and you would say you're going to place 120 damage on a Pokemon, but then Manaphy just comes in and says no. We are going to attach Speed Lightning to draw 2 more cards. Trekking Shoes away a Capture Energy. That is a very blinged out Regi deck. His Steel's not reverse hollow though. But yeah, he's got all these gold cards and reverse hollows. Regi's like the cheapest deck, so it feels really weird to be playing things like gold cards in it, when you can just play like your 20-cent energies and your 10-cent Regis or whatever they are. So we are going to use a Capture Energy on this Archeops that will allow Regan to search his deck for a Pokemon to bench. Looks like he's thinking about Lugia V. He again has to be careful because he is not playing that Dunsparce. Regan is having a hard time deciding. Looks like he does go for the Lugia V. Maybe we're using Primal Turbo now. I can't tell because we're not looking at the board. Yes, looks like it is. Probably going to be charging up this Archeops here. As long as we put 1 powerful colorless energy, we will be doing 140 instead of 120, which will be enough to knock out the Registeel here. We are also going to use the second one to start powering up this Lugia V we just put down. Getting yet another powerful colorless energy onto this one. I don't think the damage from that will matter in any world because you're always doing like 200 damage minimum with Lugia. Here comes that Charizard I was talking about before. That will be able to attack with 1 energy on the next turn. As long as Rahul takes 1 more prize card, it can attack for just the 1. And again, since he put Heat Fire on the Lugia V, that's 1 less energy card that he can utilize on the Charizard, but is likely fine because he still most likely has a bunch of Aurora energies left. Rahul is knocked out, is going to choose to promote Regigigas, it looks like. We are going to use Energy Lotto to search the top 7 cards of our deck for a special energy. Looks like there is an Aurora in there. So we are going to choose that. He can attach that and discard a card, maybe be able to draw some extra cards with Regidrago that way. Going to go for the Ordinary Rod as well. Going to shuffle in a couple Regis, looks like Aleki, and I think that might be Steel. Aleki Steel. So So putting back in the Aleki because it's essentially his main attacker in the matchup, and a Steel because that is one of the Pokemon he only plays 2 copies of. If he leaves the one Steel in his discard pile, that leaves the other one that is currently in play vulnerable to a boss's orders from Reagan, and then Rahul has no more Steels available to him. We are going to use our ability on our Regigigas. Oh, jeez, sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired all of a sudden. And we are going to get 3 energies from the discard pile, one of which being a Twin Energy, and then attach for turn as well from the hand, which will give all 5 of the energy costs that Regigigas needs in order to attack for 150. It also has not 1 but 2 gift energies on it. Of course, only one of them is really going to work. You can't just draw like 14 cards. That would be crazy. We are going to quick ball away the Raikou. Looks like maybe we are failing that. We do have to shuffle, but looks like we're going to go in with the Primal Turbo immediately. We are going to get a couple Aurora energies moved to the top here, probably 1 going on the Charizard. Looks like we are going to put 2 on the Charizard. We only need 1 to attack with. We also have to make sure there is no Path to the Peak in play as well. Looks like there is Path. So Radiant Charizard is actually, his Excited Heart ability is not online right now since he is a rule box Pokemon. He has the Radiant Pokemon rule that makes it so you can only play 1 Radiant Pokemon in your deck. So he does have to attack for a 5 attack cost right now. So Reagan is going to be looking for an out to this Path to the Peak potentially. If we have, looks like we do have an Ultra Ball, we might be able to get that Pumpkaboo down. But since the Manaphy has already gone down, now that leaves that vulnerable to an attack from a Regieleki in the future. So if Reagan does bench Pumpkaboo and attacks with Radiant Charizard here, the Bad Lecky comes up, snipes 120 to the bench, will snipe the Pumpkaboo, or even the Oranguru, or the Archeops could be knocked out too as well. Looks like Reagan is aware of this though, and he is going to have boss's orders up the Regieleki so that that exact play does not happen. And he will likely just be knocking this Regieleki out with the Charizard now. Also important to note, the only Regi in play that... the only Regi in play that can knock out Charizard in 1 hit is the Drago, so that will force that one up this turn. Even though the Regice can hit the Charizard for a weakness, it only does base 70, so that will be 140 after weakness, and Radiant Charizard has 160. They are both at 2 prize cards remaining, so this is still a game that is possible to be won on both sides. We will have to see if Rahul can draw into the right cards, if he can maybe get another Regieleki and get a big attack off on the Lugia V or onto the Luminion. Then we could see the game just be won in that way. We are going to see another Ordinary Rod putting back in an Aleki. Looks like the bench sniping Aleki. We are going to Ultra Ball and get it back. Alright, so Rahul could take out the Archeops that is on the bench by using that Regieleki. And then Reagan won't have an option for something to charge up any more energies into play. Since one of those Archeops has already gone down, that will be both of his Archeops. Looks like we are going to scoop up net, which will reset the Regigigas' ability and put all of its energies into the discard pile. We do that after we use Ancient Wisdom to fully power up the Regieleki. Now we are going to use the second Ancient Wisdom now to charge up the Regidrago, and we are just going to take the knockout here. So yeah, I don't like that play. I would have attacked with the Regieleki and left the Charizard up and knocked out the Archeops. That would have been the more correct play, because then Charizard is active. But it looks like that is still enough to win the game for Rahul, even though I believe that was a misplay in my opinion. And yeah, Reagan just scoops it up and goes to the next game. I guess Reagan knew there was no way that he could take it. Because Reagan was at 2 remaining prize cards. He could take 1 more knockout. Rahul was at 1 prize card remaining. He knows Rahul in any way he wants to could just take 1 more prize. So let's see if we can see their prize cards. Looks like we are choosing to potentially start with Luminion V. That's not a very good start in this matchup, in my opinion. I'm not sure if Rahul had a mulligan or not. Reagan does prize 1 Archeops, so that'll be a little less consistent getting those into the discard pile. The Stoutland is prized as well, but unfortunately, it's usually very good against 1 prize decks, but Reggie in particular just has too much HP on 1 prizers, so that won't be very useful. So when Reagan does pull that off the prizes, he's probably going to be a little upset, because he's going to be like, wow, this is a dead card. I'm going to immediately go for the Quick Ball, discarding Archeops. You know how this goes as the Lugia deck. Everyone should know by this point we have quite a few regionals that I have now commentated here. Looks like Rahul is going to put his deck back on the other side of the table now, the way he likes it. We're going to see if he gets a 2 prize penalty for that or not, because that judge does not like cards being in the right place. We are going to get the Lugia V. Big surprise. Reagan wants to get down a Lugia V on turn 1. Who would have thought? Since he is going first, he only really needs that 1. There is a very, well, I would still get 2, just because Reggie does have an unlikelihood, but still a possibility of getting all 6 Reggies into play, 2 Auroras in the discard pile along with another energy, and just go into town. I've done it. I'm sure Rahul has done it at some point in this tournament. You have to be doing that in order to have a record like him, 10-0-5. 2/3 of his matches he won, and 1/3 of his matches he tied. We are going to Professor's Research, unfortunately having to discard double Scoop Up Net, but fortunately being able to discard Aurora and Speed Lightning energies. So as soon as he has all the Reggies in play, ooh, and gets a second Aurora energy in discard pile as well. So if we can get all the Reggies in play this turn, Rahul will just be able to attack with anything. Well, except for the Gigas, I guess, but you wouldn't want to at this point anyway. We do have a Choice Belt down on that Regirock. That's not the best place to put it. You usually want it on that Regieleki. But of course, if you're going to be putting it on the rock, it's because there was no choice. If Reagan doesn't move the Luminion, though, it does threaten that, because the Regirock does a base 140, so with the Choice Belt, that is 170, exactly enough to be knocking out the Luminion. Looks like we do see the Escape Rope from Rahul is going to move the Lugia up and the Regidrago, so we will be able to potentially draw some cards here. Yep, we are going to Ultra Ball first, so we are going to get 1 more Reggie down onto the bench, so we will just be 1 more short. All we are looking for now is Steel, a 2 of Steel in the deck. Can we get there? We have a Dragon's Horde for, I believe, 3 cards at minimum. One, two, three. Another quick ball, getting rid of another Aurora energy. Don't know how Rahul is so consistently getting those Auroras in discard turn 1. That is 3 games in a row where he's able to really get Auroras in there fast. He is able to put those onto the Regidrago and then just hits for 160. So not the best way to go about it, unfortunately. He does get the attack off at the very least, so that is a soft Lugia now. You would have loved to see that scoop up net play yet again so that you could see the Regieleki take that knockout and put 40 down onto the Luminion. But we are going to, let's see, bench Charizard, bench Luminion. We're going to be searching our deck here. What type of card are we getting? So we are Evolution Incensing for an Archeops. We do have a Research in hand. Unfortunately, have a couple energies in there as well, but nothing you can do about it unless there is an Oranguru in your future. But I don't believe I saw another ball card in hand. So we will be able to discard this Archeops with the Research, and so long as we are able to get a Lugia VStar off of this, we will be able to Summoning Star. There are no Paths to the Peak in play. We do see Choice Belt coming down as well, because why not? And then just Research. No reason why not to put the Choice Belt down. You don't know if maybe Rahul is playing Thornton and some sort of Pokemon GX, I assume. Some Regi decks do weird stuff like that, I'll tell you. And here is Summoning Star. We do have the double Archeops out. We're going to go for Primal Turbo number 1. Like we're eyeing up V-Guard, double turbo, capture. Can't decide what we want to put on it, even though it doesn't really matter. Looks like we've got 2 double turbos total on this Lugia now. And we are going to Primal Turbo again. Probably to the Charizard, maybe 1 to an Archeops. Yep, we are going to go 1 to an Archeops with that V-Guard energy. Reagan chooses to put that double turbo energy onto the Lugia. He'll still be hitting 180, which will one-shot any of the Regis, but also important that it does not go on another Pokemon such as the Archeops or Luminion, because that would reduce their attacking power too low. You need a powerful energy on an Archeops. So if you have double turbo, you're going to need 2 powerful colorless energies. So does not really suit Archeops in this deck, in this matchup, and it does not suit Luminion because it can only one-shot Regieleki, and only if it does not have a double turbo energy on it, because then it would just be doing 100. So might as well get those double turbos out of the deck now, onto the Lugia, where it doesn't matter if its damage output is being reduced. Since it matters, the reduction matters so much more on the other Pokemon. We are going to Quick Ball, immediately replace that Regidrago. And we again have all 6 Regis in play. Rahul will be able to attack with that Regieleki this turn. I'm not sure if we will be able to get a full value out of that though, because that Lugia is already super soft. We have 160 damage on it. That means there is another 120 remaining. So I guess if Reagan had the Dunsparce in play, then the then the Reggie Alecki will still be able to take the one shot even without the weakness, but we are hitting for a weakness right now, so we are really overkilling this Lugia VStar. Looks like we are putting an Aurora down onto the Reggie Alecki and a twin energy as well. We are going to scoop the Reggie Gigas. We are going to likely be using his ability yet again. Otherwise, Rahul wouldn't bother scooping up the Gigas, unless that was the plan. Looks like maybe triple Aurora? Triple Aurora going down onto the Reggie Steel. Looks like that is the preferred next attacker for Rahul. I'm not sure how I feel about the Reggie Steel being powered up like that, because Reagan could always go in with something like the Radiant Charizard, and you would not be able to knock it out with the Reggie Steel. Although, I guess trying to attack with the Charizard here would be bad, since Rahul has only taken 2 prize cards. Charizard would still have to attack for 3 energy. He's already used both double turbos. He'd have to use 3 individual energy cards on Charizard at the same time. Reagan does promote the Luminion. I believe we will be seeing an Aqua return at some point this turn. We are going to use our first Primal Turbo. That's going to get an Aurora and any other energy. It doesn't really matter. Put that onto the Luminion V so that we can do the attack. I'm not sure why this decision is taking so long. Looks like that is exactly what we are doing. We do attach a capture energy to an Archeops as well. That will be allowing it to retreat at any point during the game or charge itself up using only 1 power turbo. We are going to get the Manaphy. That way we can protect ourselves from both the Reggie Aleckis, especially now that both of the Archeops have 40 damage on them. They are within range of Bad Alecki. And with Manaphy in play, Bad Alecki basically reads like a blank card. I can't stop yawning today. I slept a good amount last night. I don't know why I'm doing it. Reagan's really thinking about his next move here. I mean, you could always just promote the Manaphy and let it go down. If you have something like Evil Tall still, you can just grab that and promote it, because of course that one you don't want to attack with. Might as well just sacrifice it. We're using second Primal Turbo, it looks like now. That will probably go to the Charizard. Yep, we are seeing the Heat Fire energy, so that will probably go to the Charizard now. That way that card will be able to attack in a future turn. And here comes the Aqua return. That will knock out Regieleki and put Luminion V back into the deck to be reused later. Also removing a 2 prize Pokemon from play, so Rahul can now only take 1 prize card at a time. Rahul is using Ordinary Rod. Looks like we are shuffling back in Drago Alecki, I believe that was. He does have the boss's orders in deck, along with a choice belt. So yeah, we won't want to see another Lugia V from Reagan if he wants to win the game that way. Because Rahul will be able to pick that off easily if he is able to get Lecky with that choice belt. We are going to use a Professor's Research, drawing a whole bunch of cards. Looks like a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately. I do not see a Reggie Alecki. Fortunately, though, Registeel is fully powered up. We will be able to take a knockout with that, potentially. What was promoted for Reagan? Because Heavy Slam does 220 minus 50 for each colorless energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So, as long as Reagan promoted something with a big enough retreat cost, like maybe Charizard. Yes, looks like it is Charizard. Registeel will not be able to take a one-shot, and since we cannot get the Reggie Alecki in play, Rahul can't retreat into a different attacker. The only thing that has energy in play is the Registeel. Oh, but looks like we are... Oh no, Regigating! Yeah, Rahul just Regigated with Registeel to get out the Reggie Alecki. So yeah, that Charizard is going to hit for, like, what, 500 damage on this turn? Probably. Yeah, the Registeel is weak to fire. So it does base 250. So that is 500 after weakness. I think that is a little overkill for a Registeel. It would be kind of funny if it also had an ability, kind of like in Magic there is Trample, or Yu-Gi-Oh there is Piercing. If Charizard was, if any damage that doesn't really apply to the Pokemon in the active can just go to the bench, that would be hilarious. So if we're doing 500, we can knock out the active and a couple of bench Pokemon as well. But that would be a very unfair gameplay mechanic. So we are going to use our first Primal Turbo. We are likely going to be charging up this Charizard because we do still need more energy. Rahul has not taken enough prize cards. Radiant Charizard is really a good comeback card. So if you're using it earlier in the game like this, you do need to devote more energies to it. So since Rahul has taken 2 prize cards, Combustion Blast costs 3 instead of 5 energies. So we do have the full attack cost here now. Reagan is still checking his deck. He is Ultra Balling, it looks like. Thinking about what Pokemon he wants to get here. He is probably just trying to thin his hand and deck so that all of his drives are as live as possible with cards that can potentially win him the game in future turns, as opposed to cards that just don't really do much for him, like these Pokemon. So, yep, chooses the Yveltal. That might just be discarded with another Ball Search card in the future, or it might just stick in his hand. He might play a Marnie, which will put the Yveltal on the bottom. All sorts of different opportunities, routes that you can use. The Lugia deck is very versatile in that way. So again, just like Game 2, this is a pretty even match. When Reagan takes the knockout this turn, he will be up 1 prize card. They are even right now. We are going to see, it looks like we have Manaphy and Rangaroo on the bench total here, along with the 2 Archeops. We are going to use the Business of the Monkey. That monkey is in a suit and tie doing all sorts of different kinds of business. We are going to use a Primal Turbo yet again. Maybe we are going to decide to charge up Rangaroo. I do not know if we have enough powerful colorless energies at this point for that to be worth it. but maybe just have a retreat pivot on him, or maybe we are trying to charge up one of the Archeops for attacking in a future turn. It looks like we are going for the Archeops. We do get a powerful colorless energy onto it, but that is it. And 500. I can just imagine Charizard just like spits this tiny little ember out of his mouth, hits the Registeel, and it just explodes like a big like nuclear mushroom cloud. That would be hilarious. Because it just got way overkilled by that 500 damage. We are going to Ordinary Rod that Registeel right back into the deck. Rahul probably has a way to search it out. If he does not, he does have options with the Regi Gate, although that seems pretty bad. You do have a free turn to do that because, of course, the Radiant Charizard cannot attack on this next turn. Reagan can retreat it, but it does take a 3 retreat cost, and that is all of his Heat Fires and Auroras that are on the Charizard already in order to do that. Whew. Keep myself awake here. I don't know why I'm so tired. So we are doing Regi things. We are going to attack with... Oh, Blizzard Bind does 100. I don't know why I thought... Oh, you know why I thought it was 70? You know why I thought it was 70? It does one-shot Charizard. I'm just dumb. I thought it was 70 because there is a Regice that had a similar attack, but for EX Pokemon, and that did 70. That's why. But no, this one does 100, so that is enough to knock out the Charizard. I'm just misremembering. So we do see Archeops is using Primal Turbo yet again, as it does every single turn. And again, Reagan taking a lot of time with these actions. It is a very important match, so I do not really blame him for making sure that every little action he does is 100% correct, because, you know, there are thousands of dollars potentially on the line once you get up this high into the tournament. It can be quite literally thousands of dollars at a Pokemon tournament. And if you're in the top 16 race, that's thousands of dollars for a stipend to an international as well. So we are using our second Primal Turbo, getting another powerful colorless energy and another Aurora energy onto this Archeops. These two Archeops looking like twins. The only thing different is one has V-Guard and one has Capture, which both are essentially the same thing, just a special colorless energy that provides no benefit to that Pokemon. V-Guard energy only prevents bees from other bees. It does not protect any single prizers. Looks like we do get a Lugia V down. That is risky, because Rahul can always just boss that up and knock it out with Regieleki. So we will have to see if Rahul can do that. I don't think so, actually, because he does have the other Aleki in play at the moment. So Reagan probably feels safe. He's like, Rahul will need a Scoop Up Net and the other Aleki in hand at the same time, along with a way to retreat into the Aleki. So yeah, a whole lot. And I believe he did like discard like double Scoop Up Net Unless that was the previous game and I'm misremembering. We are going to draw up to 7 because of the gift energy. The gift energy is a special color list that allows you to draw until you have 7 cards. When that Pokemon is knocked out, you do that before the Pokemon is knocked out. Well, when the Pokemon is knocked out. So before you promote your Pokemon. Looks like we are using Hisuian Heavy Ball to get another Regieleki out of our prize cards. So if we have that Wombo combo, we can actually go in and attack with that Regieleki that's in hand now. We are going to go for the trekking shoes. We are going to keep. It looks like Regieleki. We don't want to be discarding that if we can avoid it. We're going to put down the Regis. We now have all of the Regis yet again. Since we have Steel up, that is the one who we will have to be attacking with this turn. So we will be hitting for 170 against this Archeops because it's 220 minus 50 for the 1 retreat cost on the Archeops. And we do see a Marnie as well, the ugly rainbow rare as they call it, the hyper rare, the super secret, uncolored, gaudy rare. I'm not a fan of those. I'm glad they're leaving in Sword and Shield. I like the alt art stuff. I don't like that rainbow stuff. It's so hard to see it. When they first introduced those cards in the GX era and they were on stream, you legitimately could not tell what Pokemon card it was. Because at first they were only Pokemon, they didn't do supporters. And they would be in play and it would literally just be a silver rectangle. And I'd be like, okay, what card is that? So it looks like we are evolving to the Lugia VStar. That will prevent it from dying to a Regieleki in one hit unless it has the Choice Belt. And then we are also getting down the Evital. That will likely just be in case he needs to promote something different. If he attacks with something along the lines of Luminion. Or if he gets Escape Roped. But Rahul, I think he already used his Escape Rope this game. And we are going to go for the Marnie as well. I think Rahul was having more than 4 cards in hand, so this will limit him. This game is really coming down to the wire. Reagan is essentially ahead 1 prize card at this point. So what Rahul is really going to want to do is take out that Lugia with the Regieleki. So he is going to have to pull that Scoop Up Net play if he has the Scoop Up Nets even available anymore. We are going to Monkey Time that business to the top of the deck. We are likely just going to attack with Archeops for 140, knocking out Registeel. Rahul does have Boss's Orders, but he does need to have the other Aleki and the Scoop Up Net. He did Marnie both of those Alekis to the bottom of the deck. Do we have the ability to Scoop Up Net? We are going to use Energy Lotto. That will shuffle the deck. It looks like there is a Regieleki in that pile of cards. We do have Capture Energy. He could always capture any... Oh, he has one Aleki in hand. He has the Boss's Orders. I mean, if he doesn't have it, he could always just boss up the Oranguru now and just hope that Reagan's out of energy cards, but I don't believe that he would be out of energy cards. You always want to make sure there's a couple left in your deck for the Oranguru. just in case you need to retreat it. So we are going to get Steel out. We have all of the Regis in play. We are just attacking with Regidrago this turn, unfortunately, it looks like. So we will be knocking the Archeops out, so we are just hoping that Reagan does not have an energy card in hand or does not top deck it for turn. He does have the Oranguru to dig 1 card deeper should he need to. That Lugia is 1 energy short of attacking, so that's Rahul's only hope. He is going to draw for turn, and it is powerful colorless energy that he put there from the Oranguru, and that is the game. Reagan goes on to the finals. So yeah, basically this game came down to the fact that the judges just gave Rahul a 2 prize card penalty in game 1 for no reason. That game 1 was still very winnable. That game 3 was extremely close. Game 2 was extremely close, but Rahul just not able to pull out the match win. So very unfortunate for him, very fortunate for Reagan. I'm sure he's happy to beat Reggie like that, especially since he does not have... oh, and they are friends too, so he gives Reagan a big hug as well. So that is really cool to see. Look at it. A little heartwarming. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe to feed the YouTube algorithm. According to my analytics, less than 10% of you are currently subscribed. So if you want to keep seeing content like this, if you made it this far, you definitely should be subscribed at this point. You will see all of my new videos in your feed. We do commentaries for all of these regional and higher tournaments and other gaming things too, and a lot of Pokemon stuff as a whole. Don't forget to check out the Twitch and all of the other links down below in the description, and we will see you guys next time. We are doing the Junior, Senior, and Masters Finals.